Amazon Prime Video's adaptation of The Wheel of Time has killed off a major protagonist who doesn't die in the books, leaving questions about the narrative ripple it will create. The TV show's third season offered an adaptation of The Shadow Rising, the fourth book in Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. A TV adaptation comes with obvious practical limitations, as there's no budget that could provide the infinite imagination of Jordan's texts. A fine example of this is the sheer number of characters it can make time for in 8-hour seasons. The Wheel of Time Season 3's ending saw Aleida capture the White Tower from Swan Sanche, an integral plot point in The Shadow Rising. However, unlike the book, Swan Sanche was killed by her opponents, leaving a plot vacancy going forward. Following the ending of the show's first season, showrunner Rafe Judkins warned book readers to prepare themselves for premature character deaths via EU, saying, "We have to, because we can't hold 2,000 series regulars through multiple seasons." Aside from the apparent hyperbole, his point was that there's simply not enough room for everyone, and he held true to that statement. Aleida imprisoned Swan Sanche in The Shadow Rising. Swan Sanche's TV death was a significant deviation. The TV series depicts Aleida and Swan Sanche in a final confrontation within the White Tower, where the two discuss how their rivalry originated from Aleida's previous attempt to become the Emerald Seed. Aleida isn't a dark friend like Liandrin, but she believes that Rand, the Dragon Reborn, needs to be gentled, and that anyone who opposes her is a servant of the Dark One. Aleida is adamant that she's serving the light, and in turn, inadvertently helps the Dark One. As we saw earlier in the season, Moiraine tells Swan Sanche that the White Tower needs to support the Dragon Reborn in order for the light to win the last battle. In the novels, Swan Sanche holds a meeting where this plan is discussed, and the Aes Sedai reluctantly agree. Following the meeting, Aleida captures Swan and has her beaten and stilled, stripping her of her access to the One Power. She then imprisons her, but she doesn't kill her like in the TV series. This provides Min, who remained in the White Tower rather than traveling to Tanchico in the books, an opportunity to rescue Swan. They escape the White Tower, even picking up the false dragon Logain on the way, leading to one of the most compelling narrative arcs in the series. The TV show will likely recreate the storyline in the aggregate with other characters. Swan Sanche's death removes a major storyline from the books. Swan's escape from the White Tower won't happen. Swan Sanche, Sophie Oquendo, is pierced by several magical arrows in The Wheel of Time Season 3 EP 8. Image via Prime Video. Swan Sanche's death removes her subsequent plotline from the books, but this likely could have been predicted. None of the pieces were in the right places. Min spent the season in Tanchico, and we haven't seen Logain since Season 2, when he was in Tanchico. The clues were there to suggest that Swan wasn't going to be making her escape, including her dramatic goodbye scene with Moiraine in Telaran Riyadh. Still, it's worth breaking down what these events included. In the novels, Swan, Min, Logain, and the Blue Aes Sedai, Lean, are on the run at the start of the Fires of Heaven, where they come across Gareth Bryne, who's yet to appear in the TV show. He arrests them, but Logain helps them escape, and they continue their journey to Saladar, where they've learned that a faction of rebel Aes Sedai has begun forming. In Saladar, Swan reunites with Nynaeve, who studies her and Logain to see if she can heal someone who was stilled, restoring their power. The Wheel of Time's Aes Sedai rebellion arc will be completely different now. Swan won't be there to help the Aes Sedai rebels. Moiraine Damo Dread, Rosamund Pike, practicing her magic in The Wheel of Time Season 3 EP 8. Image via Prime Video. In response to Aleida taking the White Tower, an entire faction of rebels forms in the Fires of Heaven, hoping to oppose Aleida and restore Aes Sedai tradition. The Aes Sedai reform in Saladar, but they only summon roughly a third of their numbers at the start. A council of 6 forms to oppose Aleida, though it's composed of Aes Sedai we haven't met in the TV show so far. Upon Swan Sanche's arrival, however, the rebel Aes Sedai work toward deciding on a new Emerald Seed. Swan Sanche eventually regains a portion of her power from Nynaeve, but she's not nearly as strong as she once was. Instead, Swan manipulates the circumstances so Egwene can become the new Emerald Seed, which occurs in Lord of Chaos. Despite losing a significant deal of her power, Swan remains a prominent part of this narrative for the remainder of the books, using her political prowess to aid the Aes Sedai rebellion. It could end up being Moiraine who fills her role in the show, working in support of Egwene. Siuan's death could severely impact the stories of several book characters. Will we even see Gareth Bryne in the show? Bear, Nakaka Coster Walda, Egwene Alvear, Madeline Matten, and Melaine, Salome Gunners.ir, looking puzzled in The Wheel of Time Season 3 EP 5. Image via Prime Video. Gareth Bryne hasn't appeared yet in the TV show, but he first appears in the novels In the Eye of the World, serving as Captain General to Morghast's Queen's Guard. In The Fires of Heaven, Lord Gabrel, a Forsaken in disguise, advises Morghast to relieve Gareth from his position. He later becomes a prominent ally to the Aes Sedai rebellion, despite having previously captured Siuan and Min. He helps them accomplish their goals with military support and even becomes Siuan's primary love interest. Given that the TV series pursued a romantic connection between Siuan Sanche and Moiraine, a notable portion of Gareth Bryne's arc was already going to be absent. He still could have become her warder, which he does in Robert Jordan's novels. However, with Siuan being killed off early, there's a chance Bryne might not even appear on the TV show, lest they solely introduce him as a military leader from Andor in Season 4. Egwene is the most prominent character in the TV show who will be affected by Siuan Sanche's absence. They share numerous scenes together between Lord of Chaos and Towers of Midnight, with Siuan becoming a chief mentor to Egwene. Again, this role will probably be overtaken by Moiraine, who isn't likely to disappear for several books like she does in the novels, given Rosamund Pike's role as a producer and the top-billed star on the Wheel of Time show, but Siuan's absence will be notable.